So we don't really believe that if a person who has a lot of talent will be the person who will be successful, and the person who has just put in an effort, we just say, oh, great job, you've done a great job there. So we tend to discredit our own abilities a lot of times when we are going up against somebody who has a higher IQ, appear more naturally gifted. But on the other hand, when Angela conducted the study, she found that talent counts as one, whereas effort counts as twice. So she kind of defined this in her book. She also wrote a book about this called Grit. Obviously, she wouldn't want to call it anything else for obvious reasons. The book is called Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance. And she explained grit in a very simple formula. She said, talent, when is applied with constant effort, leads to skill. Whereas skill applied with constant effort leads to achievement. So basically, when you apply effort to any base level talent, you get the skill. And when you apply the skill with a lot of effort, then you get achievement. So this science shows that grit, the sustained application of effort towards a long-term goal, is the biggest predictor of lifelong achievements. Unfortunately for some, it's an inconvenient truth. Certain people see that natural talent and use it as an excuse to say why they weren't able to be achievable or get to the heights that others were able to get to. So they say, oh, I'm not naturally talented. That's what they idly say. That's the reason why I was not able to be as successful or achieve that goal or reach that number or reach that target, because the other person is more talented. So at times they don't even bother because they have this preconceived notion. While on the other hand, for a lot of us, it can be a very intimidating and very upsetting also at times. But for some, it can be really liberating. Knowing that you're not doomed, that's not the end of it, right? While there is a lack of talent, but they can put in the effort and still achieve great things. Sure, obviously there are limitations to this. There are some shortcomings. All of us cannot make the cricket team. We cannot be a Sachin or a Virat or a great cricket player. But we can surely become a great cricket player in our gully. We can be amongst the best cricket players in our apartment or in our area. We can surely be there. So by remembering that talent counts as once, efforts counts as twice, we can be hopeful that one day we will become more than we think we can. That we can achieve great things despite not winning the talent lottery. Now, being gritty is hard. It's not something that comes just, you just stay back, say, all right, I'm going to get up tomorrow and be gritty. It does take some effort. It does take some relentlessness, endless temptation to not quit, right? It requires us to follow some 4 things, just some basic things that a lot of us also do, but again, are not able to point a straight finger at. 1, develop a fascination. Now, I'll quote some examples here of some great people. And developing a fascination, I'd like to start with Charles Darwin. I'm sure a lot of us have heard of Charles Darwin. He's the guy who came up with a breakthrough theory of the theory of evolution. So Charles Darwin admitted to not have a great quickness of apprehension. Basically, he did not have great grasping powers, you can call them, for our better will of understanding. To discover the mystery of natural science without possessing supernatural intelligence. So Charles Darwin developed a very obsessive fascination. He was obsessed with nature and always had questions about why is this like the way it is? Why is nature the way it is? He always kept questioning himself and relating to things that he observed that eventually drove him to find relevant connection to all living things. So his obsession, his observing skills, his wanting to keep going back and trying to understand and keep questioning himself. Why is it that this is the way it is? Why is there a connection? And he tried to build connections between all the things that he was observing in nature. So this deep interest in natural science and constant questioning led him to the breakthrough theory that I earlier mentioned, called the theory of evolution. So find what is most intriguing for you, or fascinating, or interesting, anything that drives your passion. You will automatically find the capacity to be gritty and maybe achieve the greatness that you're wanting to achieve. Two, improve daily. Try something new that makes you become better at who you were compared to yesterday. Basically, practice. So aim to improve every single day. Compete with who you were yesterday. Another example I'd like to give is of a great three-time Olympic gold winner. He's a swimmer, Ambrose Rowdy Gaines. Rowdy was his nickname. So it once so happened one day at practice, um, he was instructed by his coach that, all right, now you're going to go ahead and do a 100-meter stretch swim. And he timed him. How long did he take? He would take about a minute and 15 minutes for about 10 rounds or 10 laps of the 100-meter dash while he was swimming. So when he would beat at that 1 minute and 15 seconds, the next day he would come back and give himself a target. Not that his coach would give him one. His coach would say, all right, let's get back into the pool, 10 more laps, 100 meters, let's go. And the coach would simply time him. But Ambrose would give himself the goal of 1 minute, 14 seconds. He wouldn't be giving himself an outrageous goal. You want to kind of start with something that you know is achievable. Yeah, giving himself a 1 minute goal would be slightly crazy, I would like to say. But 1 minute 14 seconds is still achievable. A second improvement in his lap time, obviously achievable. So Angela says, you must zero in on your weakness, and you must do so over and over again for hours on days, weeks and months, year after year. So to be gritty is to resist complacency. Believe in whatever it takes. Say to yourself, I want to improve. No matter what particular interest, or no matter how excellent they are, or how good you are at one thing, how much you believe that you're amazing at whatever you know. But tell yourself, I want to improve. I can be better. There is still room for improvement. Nobody is 100%. We may be 99%. At 1% is that room for improvement. And that 1% room for improvement, that realization that yes, I have room for improvement, is what makes you perfect. Now, the third point, having a great purpose, having some sort of idea that why am I doing this? So a survey was conducted with about 16,000 American adults, where there was a test that was conducted to determine a grit score, let's say. Is it feeling pleasure or feeling a great sense of purpose? We found that people on the upper half of the grid, so we found that people on the upper half of the grid that you can see on your screen on the far right, the people who are on the upper half of the grid um, felt similar sense of pleasure in what they were doing. And we also found that higher level of purpose were directly correlated with higher levels of grit. So when somebody was just doing something for pleasure, right, the score or the grit score wasn't that great. But somebody who had purpose behind why they are being so persistent, why there is a fascination, why do they want to improve daily, when they had some sort of a purpose, a long goal or a long-term goal, their grit scores were slightly higher. So in other words, they were more grittier, they were more passionate, right? So Angela says that gritty people see their ultimate aim as a deeply connected future. So they already know where they want to be in the future. So it's a very deeply connected future of the world that is beyond themselves at that current present time. Now, fourth is the mindset to grow, the growth mindset. Hope, knowing that yes, I can get there, hoping that you can become who you want to become. Basically, in other words, also we can just define as successful. So another very important person, Vanguard CEO, Bill McNabb, he interviewed a lot of his leadership, within his own organization while he was with Vanguard. He's currently the ex-CEO of Vanguard. So he conducted, he had an interview with everybody just to find out with people who were successful and who weren't. He found that the long-term success was formed on a core belief. Those who believe that I cannot learn anymore, this is how I am, this is how I will be, this is how I do things, so don't expect more out of me. So those kind of people majorly were routinely failing to grow and also weren't as successful when compared to their counterparts. So in other words, to be gritty, you need to understand that your abilities are not fixed. They're not stagnant. Now, neuroscience also has shown that we have the capacity to change our brain and learn new skills even as we grow older. Even if I was 60 or 70-year-old person, my brain still has the capacity to learn. So basically, our brain is like plastic. You can mold it the way you want to with sustained effort and experience. Now, another thing that you can do is reflect on a time when, let's say, you started off something new and you were very scared and you knew that you couldn't learn, but you still stepped up. You still put your foot down and said, no, I will learn. And you still endured going through it. Let's say when you were a kid, you never knew how to ride a bicycle. We all were scared. We'd fall down. But still, our parents gave us that motivation that we could do it. And now we ride motorcycles, we do wheelies, we do stoppies, we do stunts, we do whatnot. Where did all that come from? That came through effort, determination, and willingness to become successful and to learn to ride the cycle. So use that experience. It need not be just riding a cycle. There must have been some sort of experience you had where it was tough. The initial stage was scary. It was tough. You were not too sure if you'd even be able to do it, but you still were successful. Use that memory, use that thought, use that experience to remind yourself that you can still achieve it. So in the end, Angela also says, learning to stick to something in life is a skill that we all can develop. By remembering that science shows that grit matters more than talent, that we have the capacity to grow our grit. We can develop the confidence to start taking actions despite how untalented we think we are. That's all my time for today, guys. Thank you so much. I'm more than open for any questions.
That's a very, very interesting thought and something that's absolutely wonderful to get to know about grit. So many definitions and interpretations of it. Wonderful. Any questions, anybody, anything that you want to understand any further, please go ahead and use the raise hand option. You want to talk, you want to ask something.
So a few of us, I see Alekia is asking if we can get marshmallows after this. I kind of leave that on Sushumna to answer that.
Okay. We can go hunting for it for sure, but it's very hard to parcel it right now. Hand it over to people. Maybe we'll have to go looking out for it if available in the market.
Yes, they are available. Huh? By the way, they're available in Ratndeep in the candy section. I just got them like about a week ago.
You should be giving hints right now, Rupesh. Very tempting. Yes, there is Kiran who wants to speak. 1 second. Kiran, here we go.
Hi everyone. I have a question. So he was talk. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I'm really sorry. I couldn't pay attention for it. Don't mind.
Not a problem. My name is Rupesh Kiran.
Yeah, Rupesh. So hi, good evening. You're talking about Charles. So I would like to know what was that book that you read about him. I mean, you're talking about a psychologist Charles, if I read heard it correctly.
So there were two psychologists, Kiran. The first psychologist is Angela Lee Duckworth. She
Yeah.
was the one. She is the lady who defined grit. She is the one who came up with the definition for grit and also made, or not made the word grit exists as a word, but she made grit as the word for as a personality trait and
Mm-hmm.
called it more on the lines of it being persistence and perseverance. The passion
Okay.
of persistence and perseverance is grit for her.
Mm-hmm.
And the other psychologist that I was referring to was Walter Mischel, the guy who came up with the entire marshmallow test. That
Okay.
was, conceptualized by Walter Mischel in 1960 is when this happened. And Angela Lee Duckworth is somebody who just did it in the 20th millennium, the 2000 millennium.
Okay. I really enjoyed this, Rupesh. I really am thankful to you because I had some similar thoughts about this, and you kind of clarified a lot of other things. I really enjoyed it, and thank you so much.
You're welcome,
I'll
Kiran.
connect with you offline.
Thank you for sure, Kiran. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kiran. And I have another question here from Ambika. What inspired you to pick this subject or topic, Rupesh?
Oh, okay. So I would say it's music. Music has been a very, very inspirational thing, and it's been a part of my life since childhood. And a lot of times I've not been able to kind of get back to music, make it a very important and a growing part of my life. So I started off, learning the keyboard in school, where we had like a summer camp conducted, and that's when I learned the keyboard the first time.
Right.
And I was given the opportunity to play the keyboard during our assemblies, during the Vande Matrams, and then it kind of died down. And then I felt there was something missing. I didn't necessarily, despite I was good at school, I still kind of didn't feel too good about myself because there was something missing. And then I knew that there was music that always going me on, kept pushing me to be better. And I knew that I wanted to learn a lot more instruments. I learned the jazz drums right after that, um, and kept going at it. Then after a point in time, that also died away, and then life happened. I started working when I was about 18 years old.
Right.
Music never was an integral part of me, and then I was able to connect with a few people, some very, very great people who've taught me how to use a lot of DJ equipment, use various softwares to produce music. So that in itself, the passion that I wanted to go back and be
Right.
great at music and learn music at another level. And I was looking for something that wouldn't be, very formal. I was looking for some topic that would really keep us engaged and we all could relate to, not just us related to work, not just us related to office and something very personal. I want something that will meet us in the middle.
Right.
And grit just happened to come through to me when I was doing a little bit of research on a few great talks.
Sure.
And grit just happened, you could say.
Okay, wonderful. I'll take one question, and there's Gyana Lekhya who wants to ask a question. Rupesh, did you ever face the marshmallow type situation, and how did you deal with it?
Well, there have been quite a few. Like for example, so there was this one time when I used to drink, when alcohol was a party type of thing for me at least, and I was instructed to not drink on that day. And that was the day a very good friend of mine was celebrating his birthday, and obviously I was invited, so I was obliged to go. I had to go, and um, you could imagine the best of the best alcohol in the world was there right in front of me. Everybody's drinking. I'm not even supposed to eat non-veg on that day. So all I could do was eat chips, have some type of a snack, have maybe water or some juice or some soft drinks, and that's all I could just pacify myself with. And the following day, once that day was done, the next day we celebrated my friend's birthday again. I treated him, and I got hammered right after that, you could say.
Okay. Right. Alekia, I think you can go ahead, please. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Rupesh, Alekia here. Thank you so much for this session, first of all. So I just have one quick question.
Sure.
So in regalix or in professional life, how would you relate this marshmallow experience? Like waiting for something and that's happening or not taking it at the right moment or something like that?
So we can use it in a very good example that, we face ourselves in our daily lives when related to work. So, when we start a quarter, right, when we get our targets, we get a fresh book, and we have 3 months to meet our target, or sometimes also a month for a few other businesses. So when we start that quarter, we're all enthusiastic about it. We're like, yeah, we are going to meet the target this quarter. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to nail it. I'm going to be amazing. I'm going to earn the maximum incentive. And we start with that mind-blowing motivation. And as time passes, we kind of still are achieving it. We are getting there. But as we all know it, that not always is it easy, and it starts to get tougher and tougher and tougher as we come to that deadline, as we come to that end of quarter. And a lot of us, despite being very, very close to our targets, we start to kind of, ask ourselves, will I be able to get there? Is this something that's, possible? I don't know. We start getting thoughts that aren't necessarily motivating or pushing. So that's the best example we can use, grit, just being passionate about meeting your target, believing in yourself, right? Knowing that, there is the light at the end of the tunnel, knowing that I can be better than what I did yesterday, knowing that the great purpose here is to get incentives at the end of it, and knowing that, okay, I'm going to get incentive, I'm going to be successful every quarter, and then knowing that, all right, because I was successful, because I was meeting my targets, I was getting paid, I was getting incentives, probably I have a better chance of, getting promoted to the next level. And then you start again. You start off, developing that fascination to, learn better at the next level, and again, improve daily. And then you have that greater purpose, and you have that mindset that you can be better.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Sushumna, you're muted.
Sorry. So how did you find this grit bring about some change in your life? Maybe how it inspired you personally?
So grit in itself isn't necessarily motivation or inspiration. Uh, it brought about a realization, must I say, more than an inspiration. I was able to realize that it isn't talent. Talent isn't something that's required. It's about being determined. That kind of drove me to, get to where I want to be. The determination, my wanting something real bad, that no, I have to be successful. I did not have an option. So a lot of times, a lot of people are put in such scenarios where they don't have an option.
Mm-hmm.
They have to do it.
Right.
And then they somehow or the other try doing everything and anything that's possible to get them there. Right. That's what is great. The passion, the perseverance, the wanting to keep getting back at it is what's the entire inspiration, you could say.
Absolutely wonderful. Peterson has a question. Any suggestions for people who are constantly getting demotivated, no matter what efforts they put in?
So, agreed. Yes, demotivation majorly comes when you come across a lot of not so successful times where you've not necessarily seen success every time. You put in some effort and you feel that you've put in the maximum effort. Agreed, you've put in the maximum effort at that point in time that you feel is maximum by you. So when that doesn't happen, you end up, getting demotivated or demoralized, and you decide that this is not something for you. But understanding and knowing for a fact, it's something that you just know, that there is something that you can do about it. You can try it a little differently. When, let's say, for example, Peterson, I'm sure one point in time you weren't able to play the guitar. And when you started playing the guitar, your fingers started to pain when you were learning to play the guitar. And it was very painful. And you're like, wow, this is something that I cannot do. It's really hurting me. It's causing pain in my fingers. But now you're just moving all the way through the guitar like it's a snake. You can tame the guitar like it's a snake. So it doesn't even bother you. So that understanding and that knowing that you can go back and be better and tell yourself that that's all right, that's okay. Failure is important. It'll show you what didn't work for you so that you don't do that again. Maybe you try a different route this time around. Just don't give up. That's the biggest suggestion that I can give.
Absolutely. There was something I think one of the our peers did share here. Yogi mentioned that I can relate to the same, Rupesh. I used to smoke in the office, and now due to lockdown, I'm at home, which is with the family, where I just don't feel like doing it. And it's been 37 days. I haven't touched any cigarette. That's wonderful. I think the basic funda or mantra a lot of people say is 21 days you're able to consistently manage a habit, then you're able to kind of continue with it. Hopefully we retain that momentum and also kind of continue that forward. That is very important, and that is what is also grit all about, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
That's absolutely wonderful. Great, wonderful. Thank you everybody for joining in today. And if you have any more things to share, you want to ask something, please write to ThinkX at regalix.inc, and you know Rupesh's name, so you can write to him if you have anything additional that you want to talk to him, consult, share something with him. Wonderful. Thank you, Rupesh. It was a wonderful session, extremely insightful. And as a lot of people have highlighted, I think it was extremely important and inspiring at this point in time of the hour. Absolutely. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening. And everybody, thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sushma. Bye, everybody. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Rupesh. Wonderful session.
Thank you so much, Tanya.